What's up YouTube? Jeff back again from DopeTechDaily.com, and today I'm continuing my coverage of the Galaxy S9, the S9 Plus launch. Today I want to talk about 5 common problems with the Galaxy S9 and actually how you can solve those problems. So every phone, no matter how good it is, and the Galaxy S9 is a great phone, there's no doubt about that, is going to have a couple of things that might annoy you, a couple of problems that you might run into out there. So I want to address those. I got a cool Keep document as usual. If you guys want to check out the link below, I'll drop the text list if you want to check that out. The Bixby remap is the first thing I want to talk about. A lot of people don't like the Bixby button, and the Bixby button can be a little annoying because you can press it on accident and then it can open up Bixby if you don't want that to happen. It can happen multiple times a day and be a little bit annoying. Now, Samsung does give you the option to disable that, and I actually did talk about that in my very first video, which was my first 10 things to do when you unbox the phone. But if you actually want to take use of this button and actually have it do something else, there's an app that you can actually install that will do that. So the app is called BX Actions. It's right there. If you open up the app, you have to enable quite a few permissions, of course, because this app is going to have to run over top of other apps, etc. But once you actually enable it, you can map the Bixby button to several different things. So if you go to Actions, you can see I have Bixby here. You can also remap the volume buttons, etc. There's a lot of things that you can choose. If you want to pay for the Pro features, which are $2.99, I did pay for them. You can get a really nice Google Assistant integration with the Bixby button, and that's exactly what I have it mapped to. But there's a bunch of other things like notifications, media, that you can actually map it to without paying for the Pro features. Now you'll see when I press the Bixby button now, it's going to open up Google Assistant for me instead of Bixby. It does take a little bit of a delay in order to work, and you guys can see the first time that you press it after a while. But once you actually have been using it, you can see it's actually fairly quick. And it's definitely better than having it open up something that you're not interested in, even if it takes a few seconds to recognize it. Now, I'm sure since the Galaxy S9 just released that the developer will improve the functionality and probably get the speed a little bit faster. Over time with the Galaxy S8, the app was very fast at recognizing and then starting the new task. So again, I'll drop the link below to that app if you guys are interested and want to check it out. The next is the black nav bar. So you guys probably noticed at the bottom here on my Galaxy S9, I have a black nav bar. Whenever I enter an app, you'll see that the nav bar changes to black. Now that's actually not something that you can do with Samsung directly. So if you go into the display options in Samsung settings and you scroll down to the navigation bar, there are some settings to change the colors, but you'll see all of these light sort of purple, pink, green, strange colors that I wouldn't really be interested in having for my nav bar. What if you just want a plain black nav bar? Well, there's a great app for that. It's called Navbar Apps. I've reviewed it a couple of times last year with the Galaxy S8, and I really like it. With this app, you can choose a static color, or you can actually choose to have your nav bar match the color of your active app, which you can do right there. There's a lot of other cool things you can do, but I basically use this one setting. Pick a static color, set it to be black, select that color, and then if you go into the advanced settings up here at the top, go into general settings, you can actually also change the way the color animation works. You can also change the way it detects the keyboard, and you can also change the color when the keyboard is open. I just chose that to be black as well because I like to have the black nav bar the entire time. So this actually has a lot of customization, but the main thing I used it for and the main question that I've gotten from people is how to change your nav bar to black, and this will do that for you. So again, I'll drop the link below to Navbar Apps if you want to check it out. The next thing is UI lag. So one common complaint with Samsung phones is that you have a little bit of UI lag, and that's actually improved a lot with the Samsung Experience 9.0 and Android Oreo. But if you do want an option to help speed that up, there's a couple of things you can do. One of them is a classic Android trick. If you go into settings and you go in to turn on developer options, go to About Phone, go to Software, and then tap on the build number a bunch of times, it'll enable developer options, which you guys will see I already have right here. Now if you're an expert, you probably already know about this. It's a very old Android trick for basically seeming to speed up your phone without actually really doing that. You can turn down the animation scale, these options right here, window animation, transition animation, and animator duration, and those will basically allow you to speed up the way the phone transitions between apps, but it does take away some of the pretty animations that Samsung has in there. I wouldn't turn it off, maybe down to a half if you want. That will appear to speed up the phone a little bit. What it'll really do is just take away some of those nice smooth transitions between apps in and out. The other thing you can do, which I actually recommend that's a little bit better, is to get a lighter launcher and install that instead of using the Samsung Experience launcher. Right now I'm running the Android P Pixel launcher. I talked about that in my last video, and I'll drop the APK below if you're interested. You can see it gives you a much more stock looking experience. It's also a much lighter launcher, so it's not doing quite as many things as the Samsung launcher. And in general, I find the Pixel launchers to be a little bit smoother. It also works nice with the assistant functionality of BX Actions, which I showed you earlier, because basically now, because you don't have Bixby Home to the left there, when you press the button, it does look a little more seamless, even though it does take a second for the assistant to actually pop up. So those are a couple of options if you want to try to reduce UI lag. That's really not a huge problem, like I said, but it's just a suggestion over time that you might want to consider. The next thing is bloatware and battery life. So Samsung has a lot of processes running in the background. And if you get a carrier version, there's going to be even more processes running in the background that you probably don't want. So one way you can take care of that is by getting a package disabler. Last year I talked about Package Disabler Pro. I've actually found one that works quite a bit better. It's called BK Package Disabler, and it's right here. The reason I like this one a little bit better is because BK Disabler actually gives you a list of the things that are safe to disable. So it actually does installed and bloatware here. So these are pretty much all the things that you might want to consider disabling, and it separates out all of the system functionality. So you don't want to disable anything over there in system, but you can look through the list here and see what it is that you might want to disable in the bloatware or installed category. So I like to get rid of things like briefing because I don't need that. Some of Samsung's fonts, the Verizon Cloud, I don't need any of that stuff. These are more font types. Just quite a few things, that you don't really necessarily need. A lot of Samsung services, Samsung Health. If you don't use Samsung Health, you might want to get rid of that. It really depends on what you're using. Just make sure you don't disable anything that you're actually using. Obviously, if you use Samsung themes, you don't want to disable that. But there's a lot of things in here that many people won't use, and it's just going to suck up your battery life. Now, you can also go over to installed. That's where you'll find a lot of the apps that you've installed yourself, or maybe factory apps like Messages Plus from Verizon that are not uninstallable out of the factory, but you can actually use this to actually disable them so they're not sucking up any battery life in the background. So a really good app. Again, it is $249 for the Pro version, but definitely something that's worth it on any Samsung phone in my particular opinion. All right, so then the very last thing that I want to talk about is actually a physical design of the phone, and that is the fingerprint placement again. So the fingerprint placement is better on the Galaxy S9 right here below the camera, but it is still easy to smudge your camera up just by going too far, or maybe even if you use the Galaxy S8 to go over here and put your finger there instead. So there's a couple things you can do. Obviously you can use the intelligent scan. You guys can see this little red light that comes on when I turn it on. It's actually looking to scan my face. That's one option, or you can use the iris scanning. The other option, if you want to use the fingerprint scanner that I find most effective, is to get a case that has a recessed, sort of sloped little module right here into the fingerprint sensor. And you can see how nicely sloped this is so that it guides your finger right to the sensor. So that's actually quite a bit different than the Samsung stock case. This is Samsung's case right here. You'll notice the difference. This one's wide open. The Samsung case has got sort of a little line there, but it's also very small. It's easy to miss the fingerprint sensor. So personally, I like the one that's wide open, but then has this little guide right for your finger. So there's a couple of cases that I found so far that have that. The OtterBox Symmetry case and the UAG Monarch case. These are two cases that I found so far that have that little guide in there that will make sure you hit the fingerprint sensor every time. And I found that really useful in these two cases so far. Alright guys, so that's my overview of 5 Galaxy S9 problems, just a couple of annoyances I've found so far and how you can actually solve them. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. You guys can find me at dopetechdaily.com, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, the links in the description. You can also hit the notification icon if you want to see future videos like this. I'm also writing over at Gadget Hacks about Android all the time. I appreciate you guys checking out this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.